with you through till 9 o'clock, then Ed Doonan with the big show from 9. Live football from 1 o'clock, Albion against Tottenham, all the build-up from 1, kick-off at 1:30. That's going to be the big afternoon of sport on BBC WM 95.6. This week, a new study has suggested that huge improvements in treating and testing for HIV have failed to curb infections in gay and bisexual men. The number of cases of the virus in England and Wales has stayed the same over 10 years, despite rises in early diagnosis and far more people taking medication. Matthew Nolan is the chairperson for Another Way, a lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender support group in Walsall, and he joins us now. Morning to you, Matthew.
Good morning.
And this is a subject that's very dear to you. Talk us through your situation and condition, if you can.
Yes, well, I got diagnosed with HIV in early 2009. Now, by the time I'd received my diagnosis, I could have had HIV for anywhere between 5 and 7 years. And I think the reason that I was so late in going for a test myself is because I was young then. I probably felt that I was okay. It was never really going to happen to me. And then it wasn't until I started to feel, well, something's wrong here. And I'd gone down to my GP at that time and they weren't telling me anything about my current health status at that time that I thought was helping me. But I'd been attending an organisation called Walsall Men's Health Project, who at that point were receiving funding, which got pulled, unfortunately, in 2011. And so I'd kind of got myself clued up about sexual health and sexual health diseases, but especially HIV. But still had the attitude that it wasn't going to happen to me.
And that's the thing that's so shocking about this, that the incidence of cases are still very, very high, and young people, for whatever reason, do not take the threat seriously.
Yes, and I didn't. I understand that, yeah.
What effect has it had on your life?
Well, my life has definitely changed since my diagnosis. I mean, there's been some negatives and obviously some positives have come out of it. So I think it's like any situation change in life. It's never one thing or another. So, I mean, for instance, becoming the chairperson of Another Way, I mean, that for me is a positive thing.
Yeah.
It means that hopefully I can keep putting the message out there, you know, about safe sex, getting yourself tested regularly, at least twice a year. Apparently the figures are that if you are HIV and undiagnosed, on average you will pass the disease on to 3 other people.
Right.
If you get tested and you are diagnosed, you then pass that disease on to less than 1 person on average. So it's evidently worth going and getting yourself tested.
The hope is that those who are diagnosed are then responsible about it as well, and there are issues along those lines too, Matthew.
Yes, of course. Definitely. I mean, that's the thing that changed for me. I mean, when I found out that I got HIV, I mean, my attraction to being, how can I explain it, young, free, carefree, that changed.
Yeah.
And so I obviously felt that I needed to take more responsibility because I felt that I had a duty to other people, as it were.
How do we change the attitudes of young people in terms of looking after themselves properly? And it's all very well being young and carefree, but actually you want to do that safely.
Yes, of course, of course. Now again, I'm informed that what tends to increase the amount of people that will actually go and seek out a test is if you can get it back on television. And I think if you can get young people to do documentary, should I say. Now, the one person that always springs to mind for some reason is somebody like Stacey Dooley.
Right.
Who's young, so she may attract in a young audience. And she could do a documentary on it, and I think many other people could do something where it gets far more airtime on television.
Do you think there would have been, if you had the equivalent of the Mark Fowler EastEnders plot now, would it have more resonance? Would it maybe change the behaviour of some young people?
That's an interesting one, actually. I don't know. I think you'd have to address it differently now. There have to be a different approach on it.
But 15 or 20 million people were following that plot, which is an incredible impact, isn't it?
Yes, of course. That's why I don't think you'd get that now out of kind of one storyline. I think you'd have to have several. You'd have to have several different kinds of shows, I suppose, or several different. What you want to call that? Documentary makers, or.
You needed a lot of impact to cover that many people because we don't get those audiences. I've got to move on because traffic and travel. Matthew, if there's one phrase that you want to put out there to young people who are leading the sort of life that you used to and who maybe aren't taking as much care of themselves as they should, what is the one message you'd get to them?
Well, I just say play safe and be safe.
Absolutely. And if you want to get in touch with Another Way, presumably they can?
Yes, of course, by all means. Yeah, we provide a supportive network for anybody in the LGBT community, and HIV is just part of many things that we do.
Matthew, thanks so much for talking to us on BBC WM this morning. Matthew Nolan, who runs the Another Way group, a support group in Walsall.
BBC WM.